Hello and welcome to my podcast, to my creative podcast, the PiaKnits, to episode number 4. My name is Mariam and I am a classical piano teacher with a passion for sewing, for hat making and of course for knitting. If you would like to see my introduction, you are welcome to visit my episode number 1 that I made a few weeks ago. I am a beginner here on YouTube and I make my videos with a very simple camera. I cannot edit, so my video has to be good in one take. So, today we are the 2nd of May 2020 and here in Belgium we are still in a lockdown because of this coronavirus pandemic. But soon we hope to open up our shops and schools and businesses and to do a bit more outside of our house. We all hope that would be the case. But in the meantime, we all stay at home, I think, as much as we can. And so do I, and I have been working at a few projects that I would like to show to you today. Yes, maybe you remember in my episode number 1 that I showed you a project that I was knitting for my little grandson. And it was a pattern that I got out of a magazine, and it is a very old magazine. I will show it to you. It is in Dutch, from the company of Vildar, and I think it is a magazine from 1980s or so. But my plan was to knit a sweater with the front with a motif on the front, and that was the plan, to knit this sweater for my little grandson Felix in Sweden. But I had already knitted the 2 sleeves and the back, and I had only to do the front. But this intarsia technique was too difficult for me, so I changed my mind. And I have finished the sweater, but I decided to make a front pattern piece with stripes. And I have made the choice for the colors of the Swedish flag: blue, dark blue, a little bit lighter blue and yellow. And I just knitted a boat neck. So this sweater is finished and I can send it to my little grandson who lives in Sweden. I knitted a size 2 years and a half, and I hope it will fit well for next autumn and winter, because now he is 16 months, but he is growing very fast, I must say. Yes, we cannot see each other, of course, now. I live in Belgium and they live in Sweden, but I'm so grateful that we have Skype and FaceTime and pictures by internet. It's really just right in this lockdown period that we can keep in touch with each other. So what can I show you next? My second project that I want to show to you is something that I talked about also, I think in episode number 3. I wanted to knit with a yarn that was new to me, and it is this one. I will show to you. Can you see it? Yes? Well, it is from this company, Katja, and it is a good yarn for socks. And I had cast on 60 stitches with the idea of knitting socks for myself, but again I changed my mind, and I have knitted wrist warmers. So I will show you. This these are my wrist warmers in this sock yarn, or yeah, you can make different things with sock yarns. This is the first one, and this is the second one. So as you see, I just went on until the position for my thumb. Then I cast off 12 stitches, and in the next round I cast off 12 stitches, and in the next round I casted on 4 stitches, so I have enough space for my thumb. It feels very comfortable. It is warm enough and not too warm, because the yarn is 47% cotton, 39% of wool, and 13% of polyamide. Oh yes, I want to say, sometimes I will talk about the yarns that I use, and that is just because I think maybe my experience can help someone like you, if you would like to try the yarn. But everything is bought by myself. There is no sponsoring. And also patterns, when I make patterns I will always tell you what pattern it is, but this was improvising, just 60 stitches, and I went on in a certain pattern that is called in Dutch koffieboontje. So, and I just went on, so it was a knitted improvising. Then next thing that I could talk about is again about hats. In my previous episode, so of course I told you also in my introduction that I, besides being a classical piano teacher, I am also trained as a milliner, but I make hats for myself or sometimes for my family. It is just really a hobby and I like it a lot. So the previous episode I have been talking a little bit about the history of the trilby hat, and today I could talk about the beret. The beret. So what is a beret? I have a lot of hats that I could show to you, so I made a selection. First of all, this is a knitted beret, hand knitted beret that I made last winter with merino wool, I think I remember. And a beret is a soft, mostly a soft round hat with a flat crown. I will put it on as good as is possible. 1 minute, please. Yes, like this. So a beret is usually made of woven or hand knitted wool. It can also be wool felt or made of acrylic fiber or other materials. And hats similar to the modern beret have been worn already since the Bronze Age, and they have been popular among the nobility and artists across Europe throughout modern history. And by 1920s, berets were associated with the working class in a part of France and Spain. And later, and in Western fashion, men and women have worn the beret since the 1920s as sportswear, or I have to watch because it is not easy to remember everything perfectly, as sportswear or as part of a uniform, sometimes as a revolutionary symbol and later as a fashion statement. So it's a little bit of history about the beret. So, the beret. You can make berets in different ways. Yeah, this is our wild corona hair, because hairdressers are not working in this time. So a beret can be hand knitted, and there are a lot of patterns that you can find online and in magazines, and it is a very practical and warm hat. You can make it in a lace pattern, then it is in a cotton yarn, and then it is perfect for spring also. You can make beret from wool or other materials, but there are also different patterns. You can have just a circle at the top, and the side part for the body can also be part of a circle. Just cut out a circle for your head. Maybe you put a headband or not, but that is really a flat beret. This one I made from wool felt, and I have been embroidering with my sewing machine a simple stitch across the top and the side pattern piece. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of noise. Then, what you also can do with a beret, it is then the crown is a circle, but the side pattern is not symmetrical. In the other one, you have like, I think maybe 6 or 7 or 5 centimeters, but all around the same centimeters, not here. If you see, this is the mid of the back. This is here approximately 5 centimeters, but if you go to the front, you have a higher side pattern piece, and that gives a kind of asymmetrical beret. I must say I make all my patterns myself, or I adapt something for my the way that I like it. So these are my patterns. I will show you this one. I will put on as good as is possible, because that is not easy without a mirror. So you put on the headband. So the beret is a hat that fits snugly around the head, of course. Yeah, with or without a headband. And it can be shaped in a variety of ways. You can put it to the right, for you as watching it is to the left, or to the other side, and that is something you have to decide by watching yourself in the mirror. What do you think is best for your face? You also, this is not so beautiful, but you can do it square on the head, or you can put it forward. So you have really different ways of styling your beret. That is why it makes a beret such a comfortable hat, and you can use it in daily life. So, what I can tell you next, I can show you also, yeah, I just showed you this green beret. I have made the same form with this asymmetrical side pattern piece in a different material, and you will see it makes the same beret a kind of a festive beret. I made it from, I think it is a kind of taffeta with embroidery on it. I just found this material somewhere in a shop, and yeah, I have made a beret with this material. So I put on this beret like this, and you can see immediately that is completely different style wearing this beret in this material, but it is not more difficult to make than the other one in wool. So if you have made your pattern and you make it in different materials, you can change your style in a minute. So another form of the beret, another way to make a beret, is to make the form by sewing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is four pattern pieces that you sew together, and the pattern piece starts here. It goes yeah, a bit more like this, and then it goes like this until the top, and you sew them together, and you have also a form of a beret, but it is a different way of making a beret. And I will put this on too. You see, you have more like a bit of a point that you can see, but it is the same way. It is also a beret, and you can put it to the left or to the right or to the front. I made this beret, I think in a mix of wool and acrylic, I guess, but I do not remember anymore. But it is nice for every day in autumn and winter. It is really practical. And I made the same pattern also in a kind of taffeta, and you will see the style is completely different immediately. I made it in this material,